welcome or welcome back to my channel. It's been really crazy here in California with crazy intense rainstorms and thunderstorms. So I thought this would be the perfect time to go over some of the books I read that feel like different types of rainstorms. And there's going to be 3 different categories. First one is crazy thunderstorm, lightning, lots of crazy rain, all that. Second one is going to be more of a moody rainstorm. So none of that intense, scary, thunder, lightning. Is just going to be like more of a heavy rainfall. And then the third one is going to be more of like just a dark cloud covering and light drizzle of rain. So without further ado, let's start by going over the books in our first category. So these are books again that seem like more of a crazy winter rainstorm, thunder, lightning, all that. We've got The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is about a young man who has a portrait, and he wishes that the portrait would age instead of him. So the picture actually takes on all of his aging habits, but also all of the sinful type of habits that he has in his life. It takes on all of that kind of stuff too. So the picture gets really distorted. You can see what's happening to Dorian Gray, but it's actually happening to the portrait. And this is kind of like a dark gothic horror. So it fits like this kind of a thunderstorm to a T, in my opinion. Next, we have The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This is about a wedding that takes place on a deserted Irish island. And the weather on this deserted Irish island is, in fact, a thunder, lightning storm happening during their wedding night. When all of this crazy stuff is happening and going on, the weather on this island kind of mirrors the stuff that's going on in these people's lives and all of that kind of like meshing together. So this is very much atmospheric and fits that kind of thunder, lightning, rainstorm feel. Also on the front cover, it has like a rainstorm. You can see it. Next, we have a co-written Christian thriller, House by Frank Peretti and Ted Dekker. This is about a couple and they get in a car accident and they have to finish their trip on foot, and they end up at this inn and they find another couple there that also had an accident and ended up at this inn. And here at this inn, they end up having to confront all of the horrible things from their pasts that they're either trying to hide or they just cannot like move on from. This is one of the most eerie, supernatural thrillers that I've ever read. I personally love Frank Peretti and Ted Dekker's writing. I read a lot of Frank Peretti when I was younger, like junior high, high school, although he writes mostly adult thrillers and supernatural thrillers. And I do read a lot more of Ted Dekker stuff nowadays, but this book, written by both of them, was insane. And it keeps you guessing, and it keeps you on your toes, and it keeps you so enthralled throughout the whole thing. I think there's a movie on it too, but I'm not entirely sure. I think there is, yeah. Because I think I remember watching it after I read the book. Plus, there's a blurb on the front from Ralph Winter, producer of X-Men 3 and Fantastic Four. It says, only Peretti and Dekker could have delivered this full-tilt supernatural thriller. They had me ripping through the pages, then blew me away with a final twist I never saw coming. Can't wait to see the movie. So, there's a movie. This is definitely one, if you want to be, on the edge of your seat, curled up in a blanket, listening to thunder and lightning, this is the book. Now, for my personal favorite, I think I've talked about this book on here so much, but I can't not talk about this book. It's One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This is a gothic fantasy, and it fits the bill for thunderstorm to a T, in my opinion, because there's just this like darkness to this town that's been overshadowed by this illness. And it's about this girl named Elspeth who has this monster in her head called the Nightmare. And I mean, it's kind of like a fantasy version, similar, I guess, to like Venom, how Venom makes those like quips in the movie. That's like how Nightmare does with Elspeth. And this fantasy world is so amazing. This, like, the world building in this is insane. I love it so much. This is just such a perfect book to curl up with your, your pet in a hot tea or hot coffee or hot chocolate and just listen to the rain outside and the thunder and read. Okay, now for category number 2, which is more of like a moody read. And I'm picturing that scene in Friends when Chandler is looking out the window and there's just like that rain coming down the window. That's what I'm picturing when I say like a moody read. And so these are more like, I would say more like philosophical or kind of denser prose. We've got Out of the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis. This is the first, I think, in his base trilogy. There's this one, Paralandra, and then That Hideous Strength. Those are the 3 in the series. But I personally love Out of the Silent Planet. It follows this man named Ransom who is kidnapped and taken to another planet. And the way this is written is sophisticated, yes, but like it's so beautifully written. The descriptions in here are so gorgeous. You can really picture what is going on in this other planet and what Ransom is seeing and experiencing. It's amazing. Then we have The Foxwife, which is actually my current read. This was gifted to me from my closest and dearest friend. And it follows 2 people, actually. It follows a detective named Bao, who can tell when people are lying, which is perfect for his line of work, actually. And he's called in to investigate the death of this courtesan and thinking that it might be a fox who did it. And these foxes are like fox spirits that can turn into men and women. And then the second person that follows is Snow, who is a fox spirit, and she's looking for vengeance for her lost child. So far, I thought it was more of like a fantasy, but it reads more like a historical fantasy. But the topics that it covers and the way it's written really does feel very much like that moody rain type of a vibe. Now for category 3. These are just like a cloud covering and light rain. We're going to start off with a classic that is very warm, very comforting. It's Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This one, you definitely just want to like get into your comfiest cardigan, get a hot cup of tea, listen to the life of Elizabeth and Mr. Darcy. They are the original, I think, enemies to lovers. Their back and forth, their banter is just some of the best written out there. And the topic of family and just like all these characters is very heartwarming, very much that lighthearted sprinkle of rain that you love and you enjoy it, and it's not something to be intimidated by, but you just kind of want to sit by the fire and get warm. Now for the second one, I wanted to go in a little bit of a different direction than just like a written prose, and I decided to pick Fruits Baskets. And this one's very much close to my heart because it was recommended by my closest and dearest friend again. And actually, she recommended the anime, and then I watched that. We decided to take a trip to the bookstore, and we both picked up these special editions, and I just automatically fell in love with it. It does feel very much like a hug, and I feel like that's what you want when there's like a little bit of a light rain outside. This definitely is emotional, yet lighthearted. I don't even know how to say, like, it's both things at the same time. It says, after a family tragedy turns her life upside down, plucky high schooler Toru Honda takes matters into her own hands and moves out into a tent. Unfortunately for her, she pitches her new tent on private land belonging to the mysterious Soma clan. And it isn't long before the owners discover her secret. But as Toru quickly finds out, when the family offers to take her in, the Somas have a secret of their own. When embraced by the opposite sex, they turn into animals of the Chinese zodiac. Obviously, there's this emotionalness of like she's kind of alone now, but then she's brought into the Soma clan, and it's very much that warmness of like found family, then the lightheartedness of their curse, but there's also that emotional turmoil that she deals with, and then also there's like a lot of emotional turmoil in that family, but definitely one that fits along this category. Okay, now for the last one in this category, I don't actually have the physical book with me because I loaned it out. It's Kiki's Delivery Service, which is also a Studio Ghibli anime film. It follows a young witch who just turned 13, and when they turn 13, they take flight and find a town where they go and make their life at. So it's very much a coming of age, slice of life, really cute. This story that follows Kiki and like ending up in this beach town and how is she going to make her life there? What job is she going to choose? How is she going to help these people? How is she going to show that she's a very useful person as a witch? It's a children's novel for sure, but it's also this like so wholesome and cute and fun. And that concludes all the books that I think represent the three different types of rain weather that I spoke about in these categories. I would really love to know what's that one book that you pick up when it's raining outside and you just want to curl up in a blanket and read all day. Drop that down in the comments. And please like and subscribe for future content.